Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, A Knitter Suitcase. My name is Daniela and I'm a knitter based in Perth, Western Australia, though I'm originally Italian and I've lived in the UK before moving here. Knitting's been my passion for a long time now, and I enjoy so much sharing all my, all the fun I get to have with my knitting on this channel. The episode I'm recording today, though, is a little bit of a different one. It is actually dedicated to one of sort of my side crafts that come together with the knitting, and it is my knitting journal. I normally show a little bit about it in my single episodes that you find in my channel, of course, if you want to go back and have a look. But January is a special time of the year because I get to start a new journal for the year. And actually the excitement starts in December when I get to pick the notebook I'm gonna use and sort of start figuring out how I want to organize it. Now, of course, I haven't got an awful lot of pages to show because it's just January, but you can have an idea of, how I organize it and I use it. It is to be said, little disclaimer, I'm not a, journal artist at all. And as with a lot of things in my life, I'm not aiming at perfection, at it being sort of an artistic piece of work. It is very much a spontaneous and, fun way to record my knitting journey, and to a way of expressing my creativity with other means than, the yarn. And I also use my knitting journal actually as a sort of broader journal, diary, calendar for my life, my personal life, my family life. So there are some pages that I'm not actually going to show with you. You'll see I'll sort of skip some pages. And this may sound a little bit sort of confusing with regard to the way I approach the journal, but the truth is that I really like to have everything in one place, and I really use it every day, multiple times a day. So I really love to keep everything there and to, use it as a real journal of my day-to-day life. Now, last year, if you've seen previous episodes of this podcast, this is my journal from last year. I don't even remember if this had a brand or where I got it, to be really honest. But as you can see, it's really, really full. I've nearly completed and, finished all the pages. There are a lot of notes about my projects, about, the various events in my life. And now it's ready to be archived somehow and stick in my bookshelf right here. Well, it'll be, just there if I need to double check anything from last year. While this one is my new notebook for 2024. I got it in Italy. That's what I usually do for Christmas. We go back to see our families. We've got some leisure time to spend, and I browse some shops. And I always look for a new diary for the following year. And this one, as you can see, it's this gorgeous, intense, dark teal color. That's what really made me fall in love with this journal. Is by an Italian brand called Legami Milano. This is a little bit of, the name of this brand is a little bit of a pun because legami means bind me up. So it plays with the verb binding, which is, of course, the technical term for making a book, sewing the pages together. And also somehow it hints to the fact that once you've got a notebook, you are tied to it. At least I feel I am tied to it for, you know, a lot of aspects of my life in the future months. It's got this very useful elastic band like the one I had last year. This one I had last year was truly an A4 size, while the new one I've got is a little bit of a different shape. I suppose it's hard to show, but I suppose it's a little bit longer than wider than the other one was, and but it's still a good size for me. And inside it is a bullet journal, so it's got small dots that make it easy to, you know, draw like boxes or to do any drawings, illustration, writing. I really like this sort of style. The here in the back, it's got another sort of little print by the brand that says designed in Italy with passion. Quite like the idea that it's Italian. And it's got this tab that I'm not sure I'm particularly fond of, which is meant to hold your pen, and I think also to work a little bit as a bookmark. At the moment, it's bothering me a little bit. I find it a bit bulky, but I may get used to it, or I may just cut it off and be done with it. It's got two different like bookmark sort of ribbons. And this is the you know, the general informations about it. Now I'm gonna turn around the camera and start showing you some of the pages inside, okay? Okay, so let's start having a look inside my book. This particular book has got a few pages that are sort of pre-organized for you to, you know, enter your content. The main page, the front page inside, it has this little prompt, I have a dream. And that's just the very simple way I have sort of decorated. So the first word that came to me when I read this page was the word peace. And so I have added a little thought, the number 24, and of course there's a hint to my knitting. This is a cute sticker that I've got. I've actually got a few here, and I was sort of considering to, you know, put some in my Etsy shop. This thing I haven't mentioned just yet. I have a little Etsy shop where I sell my handmade knitting bags, and I thought this would be something extra to make, you know, some as a cheerful surprise for the people who know the shop. Anyway, the book inside is already organized with some specific pages. This one is about, you know, world map, so you can sort of mark the places you visit during the year. This is just a perfume card from I think the duty free of the airport or some other places like it, but I like to keep it there because it smells really nice and it's a pretty color. Then there are some monthly planners. Basically, I haven't decided whether I want to use these just yet. I've rather started, you know, creating my own pages. And here are some examples. So these are a couple of, this page in particular I had also in my book last year, and it's a page dedicated to keeping track of the various knit-alongs that are happening and that may be of interest for me. So in this case, I've done a bit of collage. I've cut out some decorations from old magazines. That's something I do quite often to decorate my journal. In particular, my newsagent's got like a special basket where they sell at reduced price some magazines that are quite old or they haven't sold, and I like to rummage there and sometimes find some really, you know, special treasures. So in each of these circles, I have entered the details for a knit-along I'm interested in. And then these orange ones are actually knit-alongs run by my virtual knitting group the one with the knitting friends, started by my dear friend Lucy, these Nanny Knits, and of course go and check her podcast if you haven't already. These are the page. I'm not going into detail of the content of the single, the patterns I'll mention, or the various knit-alongs on this page, just because I want to show you the structure of the book today. Okay, then we'll have chances to do that when I record normal episodes. This is a bit of a fun page I have created to start the year with a little bit of excitement towards for the old projects I've got. So actually it's a frogging list, a list of the projects that I want to frog and get rid of because for one reason or another they haven't worked out for me, or they just are not going on for some reason. So again, some collage here. I have had fun drawing a little froggy, just trying to make it fun, because sometimes frogging is not the happiest time for a knitter. And then I will tick off the various projects once the frogging is done, which is another nice way to sort of realize that we have accomplished something, even if it's not finishing off a standing project. These two, and I've got actually another couple of pages with the same theme, are actually my sort of inspirational board, where I just jot down some plans for, in this case it says a lot of plans for 2024. These are not particularly in-depth plans, or very often what I like to do is write down, for example, if I like a pattern, write down the gauge and the yardage or meterage that's prescribed for it, so that when I come across some yarn that I like, or something comes to my mind, I can go here and quickly check whether there's a chance for me to starting that project, or if it's just something I really want to do in that period of time. So I've got some shawl details for a shawl, detail for a cardigan. I've got some color idea for a shawl. In this case, this bit of the page is actually a little bit of infos, a little bit of thinking and reflecting about how I could use this beautiful alpaca yarn with recycled sari silk in it that I bought at Bendigo last year. So in this case, it's not a specific pattern, it's more brainstorming for a project. I've got just this little drawing here to remind me I will eventually knit some pressed flowers, something, cowl, hat, I don't know, because I really like that sort of stitch pattern. I've got here a little note about a sort of garment I would like. I would like a long cardi at some point. Couple of options is just to remind me of these sort of gap I think I have in my wardrobe. I've designed here the schematic, sort of inspired by the design of this specific sweater by Teti's Knit Garden, the Polina sweater. I've got an idea for another jumper I would like, sort of very broadly, sort of bits of inspirations for the new year. In these following pages, on the contrary, I have got something I may have showed you also from my previous journal, which is a month-by-month sort of diary of the projects I start and I finish. So in January, I have started and finished one project, and I've cast on another one. And I will, well, last year I didn't manage to do the 12 months. I sort of stopped at one point. I don't really mind, I will do what feels good at the time. And if I am not consistent recording these through the year, I don't really mind. I also dedicated this top part of the page with this little cute drawing made by me with some project bags that I've got. This is a little sort of box where I've recorded my most active 2023 works in progress, just to remind me what I'm planning to carry on working on. In hindsight, I should have left a whole page for this sort of theme, because it would have been nice to make the drawing bigger and to, well, give it a single individual page, but it's not at the end of the world. As you can see, I tend to also add some sort of bookmarks that will help me retrieve these pages once, you know, the book starts to be a bit fuller. So in this case, it's just a little cardboard sticky sort of, imagine a washi tape, but thicker. And so I'll know when I want to come to these month by month diary, I can just get to this little tab. So that's that. Here I've got just two very simple pages. One is some notes about the next podcast I want to record. I don't know when I'll get to do that. And these notes may at that point be, you know, out of date. And this one is a swatch list. That is just a page where I'm noting down the sort of yarns and yarn combinations and you know, ideas I want to explore in terms of swatching. If you follow my Instagram, my YouTube channel, you know that I'm not big swatcher. I don't enjoy doing that, but lately I have sort of, you know, started appreciating more the importance of swatching. And so I've got a list and I will be ticking off the various things. Again, this has been decorated with a sticker, with a couple of paper, scraps of paper, a bit of washi tape, and this sticker that says, "You've got this." Hopefully I do. Okay, this is a page I'm not gonna go into much detail with you, because basically this is a finished object I've got. And what I did as I was casting this on my way back home from Italy in early January, and I didn't have a printer at hand, I have sort of written down good part of the pattern on these pages so that I didn't need to be on my phone all the time to look at the pattern. Not the most probably, you know, technological and modern choice, but it worked for me. And I don't mind having, you know, those pages written up like that. Plus there are some notes, of course, about the finished project. I will try and add a photograph with where I sort of hide the pattern details and show you the other elements that are on it. There is some little decorations, a note about the fact that I was traveling while knitting on it, and I've added a sticker about Dubai, because that reminds me where you know, what route our journey took. And yeah, and infos about the final measurements and the total amount of yarn I use. These are the things that I normally put in a project page. Now, these are another two project pages for project that I'm currently working on. So this one is my painting bricks shawl. So just to give you a better idea of what the project, the page tends to be like, I've got the name of the pattern. I've got the label of the main yarn, the yarn I'm using as main color, which is a Eden Cottage yarn, and I've, you know, used bits of it to decorate the page, and as there were little little flowers printed on it. I've colored in the petals, or in the sort of color palette that is in the shawl, that I'm using for the shawl. There are of course some washi tapes, there are some notes. I like this one. I wrote, when in doubt, Mr. Stephen West is always the answer, because I really I started this shawl in a moment when I was a little bit lacking motivation, and I was seeing the joy in my knitting going downhill a little bit, so I needed to pick me up. That's exactly what it's being. And then I will of course complete the page when the project is completed. Not yet, but not far either. This is actually another page for another project that I cast on recently, the 24th of January. So that's something I always enter in a project page, the date I cast on the project and the date I bound off. And again, here I used a bit of collage. This is a beautiful photograph of some flowers that comes from a magazine. Here I tried to do a drawing, but I hate it, so I'll change it somehow. And at the moment here, I've just written the name of the pattern, the designer, the size I'm knitting, and the gauge. So lots of fun to have on this page very soon, while I progress with the pattern itself, with the work itself. So this page is an example of how I use this diary also as a personal, this notebook also as a personal diary. So what I tend to do is create a monthly spread over 2 pages, and in this spread, I will have a smaller boxes for, one for each day, and I have a bigger one normally for the Saturday and Sunday together. And as you can see, there's no particular perfection or art in the way I draw my squares, but I don't mind. I mean, I just like to see it as my personal expression. I enjoy working a little bit on creating a color palette and theme for these for the various months. So in this case, I just cut out a very appropriate for this book photograph from a magazine. I added a few stickers. This one says "No bad vibes." I really like to use motivational stickers and fun little decorative ones. Usually I have in the space that is left, I have a notes box, because you always have to sort of write down something. For example, in the January spread that I'm not showing here, I've got all the terms dates for school, so that I can always go back and look throughout the year. These stickers which says to do are just there to cover some appointments that I already have in the diary for the month of February. And what I also do is I add to each single month page one of these smaller cards where I've got the calendar of the following month, in this case March, because what happens is that I like to create the months one by one as we approach the beginning of the month itself. But I find that at the beginning of February, for example, I will already have some dates for the new year, for the new month, sorry, in this case for March. So I just keep this one that I will attach here with a little a pin as a little reminder of what's coming up and what I will then transcribe in the calendar, in the diary for the next month when I'll create it. And in this case, as it's also the beginning of the new term, I've got on the back a little, again, I've covered some of our more personal infos, a little card which details day by day what are our children's afternoon activities and clubs, because as you know, a mom's job, at least in my case, with my children being 13 and 11, is just driving them around all the time to do various activities and and clubs. And I think at the moment this is it. I haven't got much more to show you, but I'm super excited to be able to, you know, work on this journal alongside my knitting and alongside my, you know, life commitments, and to show more of it to you in my next and future episodes. I hope this is somehow of inspiration for you. And of course, if you want to let me know how you know, record your projects, I'd really like to hear, or if you've got any suggestions. One suggestion I've been given more than once is that of adding some strands of yarn to the various project pages. And I was always a little bit sort of unsure, because I'm worried this book will become like thick as a dictionary if I add much more stuff in it. But I think I will definitely do it this year for some projects, if not for all of them. And yeah, I'd really like to know, you know, if you enjoyed this episode, if I have somehow inspired you to do something similar. Just please do as I do. Don't stress about it being perfect, about it being, you know, perfectly designed and decorated. Just go with the flow and make it another creative outlet that will also be somehow a collection of memories of some steps in your life and in your creative journey for the future. Well, thanks so much for sticking with me, for listening and watching this far if you've made it. And thanks for all the comments. I love to read them, and I've met such amazing people, made so many friends through this podcast, which is a real gift. So I look forward to, you know, meeting more of you through the comments. And yeah, thanks so much, and happy knitting and happy journaling maybe this time. Bye bye.